Hi, we had to go back and do a little editing before we could post this video. And we want to thank the people that make all this possible. Silencer Central. They focus on one task, making high quality suppressors. You see the banished lineup here on our shooting table quite often. Davidson's Gallery of Guns, where you get a guaranteed lifetime replacement on every firearm. The SONORAN Desert Institute, with curriculum in firearms technology, gunsmithing, drone technology. Go to sdi.edu. And then Alabama Holster, my favorite little Kydex concealment holsters. I love them and been using them for a long time. Check them out. Now, enjoy the video. That's an order. All right, Hickok 45 here, dual wielding. You say no, I say yes. They're both not the same firearm, but they're both 10 millimeter, all right? Dual wielding, and they were both watermelons. Let's take them up here and see what we have. All right, this one shot a little bit longer, didn't it? I got a few more rounds out of it, I guess, because it's a Glock and it has a 15 round magazine in it. Whereas the Delta Elite, I think, has 8 in the magazine. But that's all right. The first shot got old Mr. Watermelon. All right, so what are we doing? I don't know, really. We have the Delta Elite, before we send it back, because we wanted to do some little 10 millimeter comparison with 45 ACP, even comparison maybe with a couple of the guys. Again, I'm gonna try to keep this fairly short, you know me, but mainly we want to do a little comparison with the 45 ACP and the 10 millimeter in some really common firearms, like the Glock 20 and the Glock 21. Basically the same firearm, okay, but in different calibers. Same here, Delta Elite, and then the Series 80 Colt 45. Same gun, they weigh, I think, 38 ounces, they weigh the same. These weigh about the same. So a little comparison there. We might even do a little comparison between the Delta Elite and the Glock. You know, if you're looking at buying a 10 millimeter, you know, just give you my impressions. And that's really what this is. This is not a ballistics test, all right? So you ballistics nerds out there, 10 Outdoors 9, I'm talking to you. But people, if you're looking for that, that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you my impressions of the 10 millimeter versus the 45 ACP, maybe a couple of editorial comments on why I would carry probably the 45 ACP over the 10, depending on what I'm doing. And there are times when I'd carry the 10 over the 45. So a little bit of talk about that, all right? Maybe there'll be a kernel or two that you can use, okay? I started to say I have intelligence. That'd be a little bit of a stretch, wouldn't it? So anyway, we got two 1911s, same gun basically, 1 and 10. Again, we're just shooting regular ammo here for the most part, although we might shoot some of the hotter stuff here. In fact, we will. 180 grain, 10 millimeter American Eagle, moderate, you know, power factor. Still hotter, much hotter than 40, but it's not, I guess, probably a moderate range 10 millimeter round. And this would be up towards the higher end, maybe not the highest. There are people who load 10 millimeter out there to take down an elephant, and then there are people out there who feel like if you're not shooting something that will take down an elephant in 10 millimeter, you're a wimp and all that. So those people will have comments too, I'm sure. But that's kind of what we're doing, just a little general information and my impressions. And I've really not done much of it, to tell you the truth. I took one shot here a minute ago before the video. I wanted to save it for the video with both of these. And that one or two shots, I didn't notice a lot of difference. So 10 millimeter, and we're shooting, well, you don't see the box, but in 45, it's the same thing. 230 grain American Eagle, and 10 millimeter, 180 grain American Eagle. All right, so let me do the first thing I was gonna do. I'm gonna just shoot, load up. You've seen me do this before with various things. It's a good way to do it because, you know, shoot them side by side in, you know, quick succession, because I could shoot this gun today 1,000 rounds, and tomorrow come out and shoot that gun 1,000 rounds. And I don't know, your memory, especially my memory, doesn't last long. You think, wow, that kicked a little more, maybe the 45 kick. That seemed like it kicked more than the 10 yesterday, or even 3 hours earlier. You know, you just need to do it, you know, very quickly without a lot of time between. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's get them both hot. That's why I usually do that. Have them both hot. Okay, we're hot. And are we hot? We're not hot with this one. All right, we are now. Safeties are on and they're hot. So I'm going to take some shots. 10 millimeter, same weight gun, the same gun basically, same trigger, very, very little difference. So let's just shoot the 10. Let's shoot the Cowboy about 3 times. Then I'm going to grab this one. All right. Okay, fresh on my mind. Let's do that again. Let's do a double tap. All right. All right. What are my impressions? Let's not tell them, John. Let's not tell them what I think. No, the 10 millimeter is just a little bit more whack to it. Okay, not a lot of difference though. I don't notice a whole lot of difference. I think while we're on the 1911s, why don't we just go ahead and put some of the hotter stuff in? I don't notice a lot of difference, to tell you the truth. There is a little difference though. The 45 is just a little bit milder. Whoops, let's not do that. That's 45. See, I reversed them here. I gotta keep them straight. Now I don't have, the only thing is I don't have any like plus P45, but I want to shoot with this anyway. If you're shooting a 10 in some serious ammo, you're going hunting. And then, by the way, this is federal trophy bonded. So this is what I would be carrying. And this is another thing. I kind of give you some of my personal experiences. If I'm in the mountains, that's legal, of course. I'm where there could be some big game, dangerous game, possibly bears, that kind of thing. Now, if I'm going to Alaska, I might take more than just a Glock, obviously. Although the Glock 20, I understand, I hear from people all the time, is very popular in Alaska. And the 10 in other guns too, perhaps, but I know in that it's very popular because now it's not a 4570, it's not a 458 Win Mag, but as far as something that's fairly light, you can have in a holster with a 15-round magazine or even a 17-round magazine in it and 2 or 3 other 15-round magazines with some hot ammo, you could do worse, right? Okay. So anyway, but you'd be carrying something like this. It's what I carry when I'm in the mountains. Either the 29, which is a smaller 10 millimeter, or the Glock 20. All right. So, like I said, I just want to give you some personal information, some personal, non-essential information, and everybody has to make their own choices. 10 millimeter is not a do-all cartridge, but it's pretty powerful. All right, so we got some hotter stuff here now, and I'll compare it. Let's say you're carrying, and a lot of people would say this is what you ought to be carrying if you're carrying a 10, something like this hot. Now, generally, if it was for personal defense, it would not be a big old trophy bonded soft point like this. It would be maybe a hollow point, but it'd be a hot round like this. Okay, so maybe this is a fair comparison. So let's do it again. We're hot. We're hot. All right. So now comparing 10 to 10, even though it's a little bit of apples to oranges, it's kind of what you would be carrying in a 45 probably. Good standard ammo. And that may be, obviously, it might be a hollow point, but it would, wouldn't necessarily be something hotter than good old 230 grain ammo. Might be. But in 10, if you think you need a 10, you're probably carrying something pretty hot, like this. All right, Cowboy. Let's do a 2 liter. Wow. Yeah. Now, there's going to be some difference here. Let's try a 2 liter. Yeah. Yep. It's like we picked up a 38 special compared with a real 10. There's a pot that needs smoking. Boy. It knocked everything around. Whew. Okay, now we have a difference in recoil. So I kind of rolled into maybe a more realistic situation, just accidentally. Again, I'd be carrying something like that if I needed serious protection against big animals, dangerous animals, and what else? Or for hunting, I was going to say. For hunting, if you're going to hunt something, hunting deer or whatever, large game, you would want some hot ammo. So generally speaking, in the real world, for the real purpose of a 10 millimeter, I guess you'd be more likely to be, that would be a more valid comparison perhaps. All right, so 45 is a little bit of a pussycat compared with the 10 millimeter in a warm loading. And that might answer, just that alone might answer a lot of people. Over the years, I've seen a lot of questions about what's the difference between 45 and 10 millimeter? Is the 45 better or 10 millimeter better and all that kind of thing? Well, that alone will hopefully give you a little bit of insight. If you're kind of new to shooting, you've never shot one of them or either, the 45, a novice shooter looks at that and might think, well, it's a bigger bullet, it's heavier, it's bigger. 45 is supposed to be the ultimate cartridge. Well, 10 millimeter is actually more powerful. A little bit smaller hole. I think it's about 40 caliber, 10 millimeter, right? And this is 45, so it's bigger, but it's not as powerful a cartridge. All right, so that's a big difference. Let's try a little bit of that with the Glocks now. Got John's 21 here, my 20. Let's see what we got loaded. We'll do the standard stuff here. Again, I don't want to take all day. I just want to give you an idea, see how much difference. All right, we've got 10 millimeter standard ammo. Feels pretty stout. You look at what? Oh, you gotta shoot this one real fast. Almost forgot. All right. Okay. Almost forgot what I was preaching about earlier. Got to shoot them right away. I sense about the same difference, comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, different guns, but the difference in the recoil is very similar. The 45 is just a little bit milder, but it's not significant, Now, when I put some of this in here, we'll probably notice more of a change, all right? I will say in either one though, because I've shot this in both guns, it's very controllable. It's not like it's something you can't control, the warmer 10 millimeter. And you've seen other videos. We've done several with this firearm. I shot some of the very hottest stuff I could find. Heavy bullets and all sorts of things. Very controllable. In fact, people, I think, accused me in one video of the ammo being weak or something just because it was so controllable. Well, it just is. They're easy to handle. And I'm going to fill that magazine up. Give you a good dose of this stuff. Trophy bonded. I know it's a little overkill. He's shooting steel targets and 2 liters trophy bonded ammo, but that's okay. It's what we do. All right, let's shoot some of this. See the difference. Again, real 10 millimeter ammo. Although I'm sure you can find something even hotter than that, but it's pretty stout. I'm gonna lay. Those are hot. I'm laying them right there, pointed down range. All right, trophy bonded. All right, cowboy, you're getting beat up today. I know. And right there, 45. Yeah, let's go gonging. All right, let's finish this guy off with the gong. 10 millimeter, heavy rounds. Wow, cowboy. Could you tell how fast those are getting to the gong? Much faster than the 45. So yeah, those are some warm rounds. That again, that's what a 10 millimeter is designed to be. I mean, ideally. I mean, I don't see a big problem with shooting just moderate ammo because it's a lot warmer than 40. But yet there's some really stout ammo out there and very good hunting ammo and very good defensive ammo. So yeah, there's a big difference between And these guns too, shooting that kind of ammo, it makes this feel like a pussycat for sure. All right, does the same over here. I don't know what that tells you, but by and large, it's very controllable no matter what round you've got. So it kind of depends on what you need, what your needs are. No problem carrying this thing. You can handle a 10 millimeter. It's a little bit heavier. The barrel's a little bit heavier, but it's not a lot heavier than the 45. Very controllable with that polymer grip and everything. It absorbs some of the recoil, and not just in these guns. There's some other 10s out there. I just don't have them, and they have to be made well. They have to be made well in order to stand up. And these are a couple of the early ones. You know, the Bren 10, of course, I think 83, something like that, based on the CZ design. And then Colt was the first one to come out with a, you know, from a major manufacturer, you know, in the 10 millimeter with a Delta Elite. And then Glock came along not all that long after, and a really viable alternative for sure. Okay, great gun. For defense, I hadn't talked to, let's talk a little bit about the ammo. I looked up ammo, just this kind of ammo, American Eagle, on AmmoSeek around the internet. And for 45, well, for 10 millimeter, it runs about almost twice as much as 45. So that's a consideration. If you're looking at these cartridges, thinking about one of them, or you got the hots for the 10 millimeter. You've read the ballistics on it. You know, you see the ballistics test online. And, wow, what a round! I got to have that. Well, maybe you do. Just be aware, it's more expensive to shoot. There's plenty of ammo out there. I mean, look around. It's out there in gun shops, online. Lots of different loadings and different companies. It's going to run more expensive, but it's there. Okay. So that's one of the things, it's cost to shoot. Of course, you could load yourself. Like I haven't loaded in a long time, but I used to load 10 millimeter. And, you know, obviously anything you hand load yourself is going to be less. Especially a round that doesn't have a huge market penetration. Those are the rounds where you really save a lot of money on, because there's no reason for this to cost any more than a 45, for example. The components are not any more expensive, really. See? It's like 45 Colt, 44 Special. Some of those rounds, they really shouldn't cost any more than 45 ACP or anything around. But they end up costing more because there are not as many people buying them. It's that aspect of the economy. You know, it's just not as big a market out there for it, and so they cost more. Whereas if you're reloading them yourself, you know, there's very little, if any, difference. Okay, so something to think about. But it does cost a little more. Okay. Recoil is what I've been talking about. They're both very shootable. The guns, you know, a 10 millimeter doesn't cost much more or any more than a 45 in the same gun, and a Glock, I think it may cost a little more. Now these guns, it will run a little more. I forget the difference in price, but a 45, the Delta Elite's going to run a little bit more. Again, it's more of a market thing though, okay? But there's a variety of guns out there if you're interested in a 10 millimeter, not a big deal. Self-defense I didn't talk about. A lot of people are, why doesn't everybody carry that if it's that hot and that powerful? Well, some people do. And I'm not going to argue with people about that or debate here about that. I have some issue carrying anything that's a little non-standard self-defense. If you talk to, a lot of police instructors or CCW instructors, Masa Yub, he's probably going to tell you not to carry something too unusual or ammo that's way out there, some super duper ammo somebody came up with that's supposed to rip through a car and looks jagged and it's got some dangerous name. Those kinds of things, you're better off if you stick with what generally the police carry, if you don't want a hard time in court, probably. Okay, but there's two sides to that, so don't take my side necessarily, but that's just what I do. Carry something kind of standard. A lot of good stuff to carry out there. Good guns, good calibers, good ammo. You don't have to go way off out there into space to get something that will work. So that's good. Now the last thing I'll do, besides yak a whole lot more, no, I won't do that. Have we compared it all across platform? Let's just do a little of that, just one time, okay? Trying to give you a little idea here, some of the useless things I can show you. Why don't we just compare, well, since we're talking about 10, let's just compare a little bit with this. We'll just use the big boys too when we do that, okay? We'll have a couple of the one magazine of these trophy bonded rounds for the Delta Elite. You'll have the same ammo in the Glock as this, so that might be another question you have. You've already decided you want a 10, and You're just not sure which platform to go with, okay? You think you might want a 1911, but you're not sure. You like Glocks, seems kind of big, but a little bit thicker than the 1911. I could be using the loader, I've almost got enough here. So let's just give you my impressions of this before we let you go to dinner, because I know most of you are getting hungry. Look at all that brass lying around. Don't you love brass? Okay, so we've got the trophy bonded, the warm stuff in both. Let's put these side by side. Get them pointed down range. Okay. That was brilliant. Okay. And I might split these up a little bit here and just to get a good feel for the difference. Because I think the Glock 20 is generally pretty sweet to shoot, all right? And let's see here. I've not really done this yet, I guess, comparing these two. All right, Mr. Cowboy, I'm gonna beat on you some more. Okay, woo, definitely knocks you around a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go for the Tombstone. I'm gonna finish the magazine. Okay, I'm gonna try not to miss it with this. Yeah, that was me on those first couple of shots. Okay, the Glock is a little bit more pleasant to shoot, but again, there's not a lot of difference. Part of the problem with this one is that beaver tail is not so nice. If you had a Delta Elite or a 1911 of any kind, 10 millimeter, with a nice beaver tail, extended, high rise, you can see it's kind of worked on my hand there a little bit. This would be more pleasant. There wouldn't be quite as much difference, but I have to say that it doesn't punish you as much. Okay, I guess the polymer gives a little bit or something. Plus you got a big grip, you're wrapped around, so it's a little more pleasant to shoot, but not a big difference. Not enough that you would, if you like a 1911, you say, well, I can't carry that. They're both gonna kick you, knock you around with full house 10 millimeter a little bit, but they both work. So 10 millimeter, a little bit of a controversial cartridge, and you know, it just hasn't become quite as popular as a lot of people would like for it to, but it's there. The ammo's available, there are guns available, good firearms. If nothing else, these two will serve you quite well. And it's an interesting cartridge because it has some punch to it and it works, and these firearms handle it pretty well. So there's good ammo available, good bullets, hollow points, and different things. So the 10 millimeter again versus 45. 45 is more standard, it's more accepted, it's more, you know, it's mainstream. You're probably going to have more ammo selection. You go to a gun shop or somewhere where you buy ammo, you're probably going to find more choices in 45 than you are 10. It's not going to be quite as expensive, okay? But if you're willing to reach out a little bit and look around, maybe even do hand loading. You wouldn't have to do hand loading, but just, you know, maybe dig around a little bit more to find ammo you want. You'll find it in 10. And you'll just pay a little bit more. Good guns available. So I'm not going to come down and advise you to stay away from one or choose one over the other, of course. They're both very nice cartridges. Otherwise, why would I have both? Right? Pretty smart, huh? Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com, and also while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here, also while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok 45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.